In Detroit, the fight for healthy air is being waged on a more local scale.
People of color and low-income people, usually because the majority of people who are low-income are people of color, are more affected by climate change and environmental impacts than other communities.
Nia Robinson is hoping to help these students understand the challenge. Because in inner city neighborhoods, bad air and heat waves have killed and will kill again.
When you start talking about the health effects of climate change, the toxic emitting facilities are usually located in the neighborhoods where these people live. So the problem is not only that their air quality is bad, it's that they're living right next door to power plants or incinerators or car factories or freeways. And then we're walking through here wondering, oh God, it smells so bad, and these people have to live with this every day. When you grow up there and you live there and every day this is what you see, you start to believe that this belongs here with you. And so when your kids are sick, you don't necessarily equate that with this factory down the street. It's just, oh, my kids are sick, and so are the kids down the street.
I feel like, especially when it comes to depending on our generation to come along and really help and support the environmental movement, it's so hard because, you know, we have been coined the bling bling generation, and all we care about are the Escalades and the clothes and the cars and getting more and more and more. And like you said, it's hard to do the give and the take, and I don't think that as a whole we really want to give and take and say, well, I'll give up that house or that car for the environment. They don't care about that.
The reason that most humans aren't environmentalists is because they don't feel like they're a part of the environment, and they are. They're an intricate part of the environment. And so I think that what's important is to get people to understand that you're a part of this cycle. You don't control it, you're a part of it. And what you do to harm it harms you.
While inner city dwellers are more at risk than most, climate change is affecting people's health all over the world.
In the last 2.5 decades, we have seen the emergence of 30 diseases new to medicine.
Rising temperatures are expanding the range for infectious diseases like Ebola and Vibrio cholera. Alongside those diseases, excess CO2 is fertilizing the microorganisms which trigger allergies like hay fever and, more deadly, asthma.
One of the unexpected impacts of just carbon dioxide fertilization of plants, with experiments of ragweed, which we see growing right here, with doubling of ambient CO2, we found that the growth went up 9 or 10%, while the pollen production went up 61%.
The impact of CO2 on plants and us is startling. But it's the climate's changes in precipitation patterns and the droughts which laid the groundwork for recent outbreaks of hantavirus and West Nile virus. In the summer of 2003, a human health disaster began to unfold in Greeley, Colorado. The first clues were dead birds, discovered in increasing numbers. Then horses started to die. Then people.
It was on TV every night, and to protect yourself and wear bug spray. But I hadn't even seen mosquitoes or been aware of them, so I didn't take any precautions.
We had a very moist spring, and then right after that, we had a very hot beginning of the summer. Set up perfect conditions for the mosquito breeding cycle to be shortened, set up the perfect storm for us.
With fully half the total American cases of West Nile virus, Greeley became a national story.
We certainly weren't expecting the number of cases, and the spectrum of disease has been quite broad, from individuals who have a little muscle ache, some joint pains, and a low-grade fever, to individuals who've had life-threatening encephalitis.
For me, it turned into meningitis. So, you know, I had a brain infection, and I was disabled. It was difficult for me to walk. It's been very difficult for me to think, even now, which has been 2 months later.
Sharon's infection was high profile and deadly. But how many cases were not even reported?
for every one patient that we see who comes to our attention, there are at least 150 people who do not come to our attention. So we would extrapolate from that and say that here in the state of Colorado, we've had probably on the order of 200,000 individuals who have been infected with the West Nile virus.
While medical science is working on vaccines to cure West Nile, climate science is trying to forecast where the next outbreaks may occur.